Good afternoon, everybody. I am messing things up on the GoPro. I'm out for a quick ride. I was gonna go do some coaching this afternoon, but a lot of the kiddos that I had ready to go were sick or had some other activities come up. So kind of a bummer on that one. But gave me time to come out here, chat with you guys, and give me an opportunity to talk about what got me started. I've done one or two blog posts so far that talked about how I got into riding, or like the origin story with my first bike and all that fun stuff. But for me, where my story really begins with getting so into biking and where all those seeds were planted for what I'm trying to share now with coaching as well, was about middle school. So now having kids of my own, knowing that middle school tends to be that time of their life where they're lost, they're trying to find their way, they are struggling to find their best peer group, and kind of what really identifies themselves. And for me, that's where my cycling really started. Going into middle school, I was old enough to get a job. So that summer before middle school, I got a job, and I made enough money to buy my first mountain bike on my own. And during that period, I had a few friends that were pretty close that we tended to ride a lot. And the trail system I'm riding today is where I really started pushing my limit. Take two. So, I think where I was at was just talking about middle school and how that tends to be a time where our kids tend to struggle. So for me, when I had the money, got my own bike, and had a few of those good friends to go ride around with and kind of develop that small little community, I started really finding a lot of fun in downhill and doing the jumps and the freestyle, and ended up on YouTube a lot watching trials videos from over in Europe. So I kept trying to mimic that kind of riding, alter my bike so then it was more so like a trials bike. And I broke 2 frames and 6 set of forks, all within the span of 9 months, I think. So that for me, I had to buy all my own parts, buy all my own frames, and do all the work on my bike myself. So that was a really good learning experience for myself, putting in the work, taking care of my equipment, and just finding respect for my own stuff, and also understanding hard work. And had I guess you could say, kind of a fun time having that work ethic instilled in me at that time. And while trying to learn all the trials riding and stuff, I found myself down at the skate park a lot, because I had some benches and some other things to practice on for getting your front wheel up and the little stuff that trials does a lot. So as I started watching a lot more of those older kids at the skate park, riding street and park and dropping into the bowls and all that, with that style of riding really got me into it, and I ended up going to the skate park as often as I could and finding a real passion for that style of riding. And just because of the close quarters of the skate park, that's kind of the area where you tend to ride a lot. The community I found there Initially it was a little rough. Skaters yelling at you to get out because it's a skate park, not a bike park, or just dealing with those different personalities, strong personalities a lot of times, and then just the environment was not always the most awesome. But having those few close friends to go down there and ride with really kind of became my safe haven, my escape. And from there, moving into high school and getting more serious about BMX and skate park and that style of riding more seriously, I bought a BMX, and my group of friends shifted, mostly because I had ended up getting in trouble when I was a freshman, and there's a big story behind that, and so I guess actually I'll go there. I'd gotten in trouble for getting too bored, really. Got into lockpicks and all that dumb stuff you tend to get into when you're a bored high school kid or bored freshman. And the kids I was hanging out with, we were not very constructive with the time we had in doing something more positive. So we got in trouble. We'd actually gotten arrested and had to deal with the repercussions of both our parents and the repercussions of dealing with the law. We ended up having to do some restitution, and a few of us actually got expelled from school. So that was quite a learning experience for myself at that age. And with having to pay back all the restitution, I had to get pretty much nearly a full-time job. I was work every day after school and on the weekends to earn what I needed to pay all that stuff back. I was able to save enough that I was able to buy another mountain bike that was more or better suited for skate parks. So that was really cool. Something kind of positive came out of that. I definitely learned to watch for those personalities or those people that just were not supportive in a more positive manner. So again, the skate park ended up being one of my safe spots to go to hang out with those that were supportive, were friendly, were just had a good vibe that you were able to really find yourself with, which was really cool. And all those kids that I ended up riding with down there a lot were 4 and 5 years older than I was. So as I grew in high school, my peer group, the ones at high school, I rarely hung out with. So I was either at work or at the skate park if I was not in class at school. So looking back now, that whole era of my life, finding biking and finding it as a place where I belonged, but also utilizing it as an escape, kind of became almost a double-edged sword. During that period, I broke my wrists multiple times. There was a few times where I was riding down skate park with 2 casts on, and there's still a lot of people in town that know me as the kid with 2 casts down skate park. So definitely almost an identity building period of that time. And so to kind of side shoot into why I want to coach and pass on the knowledge and the experience that I've had or I've gained is to shed light and almost give some of the kids I'm coaching the option or the awareness, at least, that cycling should be utilized as a positive tool and not necessarily an escape, because if you turn it into an escape, it's just another vice to numb or get away from the issues you may be dealing with. So definitely a big important thing for me to try and help spread is use cycling as an outlet and not an escape. Just because I know at that period for me in my life, it was I would ride so hard and so aggressively, and certainly outside my skill level, that I would hurt myself, and I would gain attention for that. So it wasn't positive attention. It was, looking back now, I was fishing for it. So I was fishing for the attention that I thought I wanted, but it wasn't genuine attention. It was people felt that they needed to reach out, I suppose. I'm still working through some of that stuff, because some of that stuff seats really deeply, and I'm still discovering more about myself every day and every ride. So that was definitely a big period in my life where biking was a huge part of it. Majority of the time it was positive. There was a few times where it was not so positive. And as I got into college, still really focusing on the street stuff. I was not too savvy on joining the Fort Lewis cycling team at the time, because they didn't have something for street or park style riding. I did want to try the downhill, but I didn't have the money at the time to get a bike, so I kind of diverted or avoided that whole potentially good community that I missed out on. Looking back now, I wish I had kind of focused on that, because that could have been another door opening for myself to really see what I could have done with cycling. So from that period, just really focusing on work and striving to work with the family and to help those businesses, which that turned into quite a challenge after a little bit. But I've met my ex-wife, and we ended up moving up to Oregon. And at that time, I stepped into the role of husband and then soon father, and that role did not leave a whole lot of time for cycling. So when I was in Oregon for about 3 years, I got to ride my street bike at the skate park maybe 3 or 4 times that whole period, which really sucked. That really allowed me to see what a positive impact cycling had. So when I did get out on my fixed gear bike at the time, I got to take in every moment, every pedal stroke that I could, because it was so far and few between to really enjoy cycling. So at that point, I got into more of the commuting and the fixed gear riding style. And in 2013, I moved back to Durango and was able to take that skill that I learned with fixed gear riding and just that riding style, got to bring it back here, and that was the only bike I had to really ride road. So I got into as much training as I could, and I ended up making the decision to try the Iron Horse, or the Quarter Horse at the time, which is from Durango to Purgatory, on my fixed gear bike. So I had done some training. I tried some spin classes and tried to focus on actually putting in the time in the saddle to try and make sure I could make that climb on a single gear without being able to coast. And I made it all the way to Purgatory, and when I hit the entrance to Purg, I felt like I really could have gone further and actually finished the whole Iron Horse. So that really stimulated that drive and that desire to dig as deep as I could, find out what I could really do on a bike within that discipline. I was still riding street, still riding down skate park, which is so fulfilling to find a line or find a trick and just nail it, which is so much fun. But so as I started to discover more of what I was capable of on my fixed gear bike, that started to really develop the mindset that I want to try and convey through coaching, as well as that there is, I mean, a lot of guys, a lot of gurus, a lot of the self-help guys will talk about how most things are 90% mental and 10% physical. I really discovered that and could attest to that now with cycling, and how this next year I decided to do the entire Iron Horse on my fixed gear bike, and was able to do it with one of my buddies, which was a blast. And that entire experience was very eye-opening for me, and I learned a lot about myself, which was awesome. And I'll do another post or another video more specifically on that, because it was that entire realm of mindset and digging deep and grit and drive and all that other kind of stuff you can throw into that is just huge. So a lot of that really planted the seed for me that there's a lot within cycling that I want to help convey. And with the other video I did for creativity, that was another aspect of it. And so I plan to do a lot of posts and a lot of talking on the different aspects or skills that I've developed myself and that I want to help convey through my coaching, and just to offer kind of a shortcut or options or door openings, whatever you want to call it, for those that I teach or coach, and just let that be a driving force to really make a transition of those skills in cycling. So drive and grit and the ability to truly push yourself, get those skills to translate to other aspects of life as well. So within business or health, because I know cycling is a pretty obvious one for health, but that I've found that could easily be a very useful method of building the scaffolding to a stronger mindset, a stronger personality, a stronger, more secure person. But I think I'm kind of running out of steam. My mind's going crazy on different aspects of what I could chat about. But so I hope you guys have a great day. Go out, ride some bikes, have some fun. Find the little aspects of life that are truly meaningful. So if, again, for myself, knowing now how to best utilize cycling for positive and not as an escape, I take every pedal stroke in and make it worth my while. So I hope you guys have a great day.